morning, students of class 10. We'll continue our lesson in our history. The making of a global world we are doing, and we have reached 2.3, late 19th century colonialism. Now here we have talked about the modern technology that spread all around the world. Wherever the Europeans colonized, new technology was also went there. Along with them, the new technology went there. So due to new technology at that time, during 19th century, due to new technology, trade flourished, expanded, trade flourished, and markets also expanded in the late 19th century. This is the brighter side of the story. Trade, markets expanded, there was the change in culture, food, so many things took place during this time. But this was not only a period of expanding trade and increased prosperity. Prosperity means getting rich. It was not only the story of expanding trade and commerce, expanding markets, and expanding or increased prosperity. So far, we have talked about all this, refrigerated ships, and we have talked about railways, telegraph, telephones. Along with the colonizers, these things have spread around the colonies. Now we'll talk further. It is important to know and realize. It is important to know as well as realize that there was a darker side of this process or the story. There is also a darker side of the story or the process of colonizing as well as prosperity, increased prosperity, as well as expanding trade and expanding market. Along with that, there is a darker side of the story. What was that? You see that in many parts of the world, not only in India, around the world, wherever the Europeans colonized, in many parts of the world, the expansion of trade and a closer relationship with the world economy, trade was going on. We have talked about from 25 to 40% increase in trade. So world economy, relationship with the world economy also meant a loss of freedom and livelihood of millions of people. Loss of freedom because the Europeans, they colonized various parts of the world, and the native people of those colonies, they lost their freedom and their livelihood. We have talked, we have discussed in our lessons also, previous lessons. Loss of freedom and livelihood. This is the darker side of the story, of the process. Now we talk about European conquest. Wherever European went, they colonized various parts of the world. Their conquest produced many painful social, economic and ecological changes. Very painful. This story is quite painful to hear about or to read about those people, native people, how much they suffered, so much suffering they faced or they experienced. European conquest produced many painful social, economic and ecological changes. They brought all these things. We have talked about forest tax. It had a number of effects towards the people living in the forest areas. Through which the colonized societies, wherever they colonized, from there they exported raw materials, they exported food grains, and the colonies were also brought in the world market. The picture also came in the world market. through which the colonized societies such as India and South Africa and other parts of the world were brought into the world economy. Their name was included in the world economy or in the international markets. The goods from so colonized area. So now you can see that there is also a brighter and darker side of this story of the 19th century, making of a global world. It is not all about expanding trade and increasing markets and prosperity and so on. There is a darker side, there is a sad story along with this, connected. Painful stories of loss of freedom as well as livelihood. Many have sacrificed their lives in this process. So now in our next class we'll talk about some more. This much for today. You can copy this out. You can rotate your mobile and watch the video properly. And keep on studying at home. Do not waste your time. Many of the students, they are just ignoring or they are just not paying attention to these things, but they will suffer later on if they carry on doing like that. You must go through this once. It hardly takes 5-10 minutes, but you can understand and it will provide you a lot of information and understanding about the lesson. You can copy these points. So that's all for today, and we'll meet in the next class. Thank you for watching the video.